Hi guys, it's Ruth here at Artful Stampin. I couldn't wait to do a video and wait for it to upload and then share it with you guys. I needed to come on here and do a quick YouTube live. Got some great news today from Stampin' Up. I'm allowed to tell you about these, okay? These are Stampin Blends. These are the new alcohol markers that have been redesigned by Stampin' Up. You may know a few years ago they came out with blendabilities, and because there was manufacturing issues with the marker pens, they had to withdraw the whole line, much to the sadness of a lot of customers. However, they have assured us, they have tested and retested, and they've come out with this better line now, and there's no well, I say there's no chance of them drying out. If you leave the caps on, they will dry out, but they've redesigned the caps so that there is going to be no drying out while the lids are on there. Okay, so what are alcohol markers? What's all the fuss about? Basically, they are a high quality pen that are fantastic. That is fantastic for colouring in. So if you are already into the whole colouring book thing, and hi Ian, nice to see you, then you will probably love these. If you're not like me, I'm a bit of a kind of have a love-hate relationship with colouring. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, but I have to say having quality pens to colour in with has made quite a difference. So here we have one of the papers from the colouring line that we do, and this was the first thing that I started to play with to colour in, and I'm loving the results. It's really quite clear, and you can get such sort of varied depth of colour. Now the reason is, thank you, the reason is I've got people watching live, so if you're watching this replay, hello, do comment, is that you get, for every colour that we do, we've got 12 different colours, we've got a light shade and a dark shade, so it means that you can do blending really beautifully. Earlier on YouTube I just showed people how you could get all the various variations of depth of colour using the marker pens, because basically, because these are alcohol, you don't get the same pilling that you would do with a normal water-based marker. If you were to go over and over and over the same spot with a water-based marker, you'd eventually damage the paper. But with these pens, you can just keep adding colour, and you can see here the various depths that you can go to. You can keep adding and adding and adding, and it's not making any difference to that piece of paper at all. It's not damaging it. It's yeah, the colour is soaking in. Now, a word of warning: when you do colour in with these, make sure that you protect your work area with a scrap piece of paper, because that is what the back side of the cardstock looks like after you've played with it. And I can show you the back side of my colouring there. It does seep through, and the more colour that you add onto it, or the more marker pen you put on it, the deeper that saturation will go. But that's fine. That I can cope with that for that beautiful blend of you know, dark to light shade. I'm quite happy to forego the back of a piece of cardstock. So that's just one thing to bear in mind. So would you guys like to see me do a bit of colouring in? I may as well just jump straight in there and do a wee bit of colouring in front of you. Let's go with these pretty teacups here. Get you in a bit closer. Just turn that way because you can see there. So if you've got any questions or comments about the marker pens, please do comment below. Now, as I said, they come in 12 different colours. I'll quickly show you what they are. We've got a fabulous little leaflet that can be looked at online, or I can send it to you. And these are the colours that they come in. And then they also provide a what is supposed to be for skin tones, but it's colours that we don't necessarily carry in the Stampin' Up line. I'm just digging around here to find it. We've got a bronze tone, this one here, and this one's called Ivory. So that's a bronze, that's the ivory, and this is what's called a colour lifter. But I a colour lifter is a slight misnomer really. It's more like a colour pusher. It pushes the colour into the paper, and it's worth remembering that when you do use them. It's great for creating effects on your work. So if I just show you this piece I did here, this is coloured with cherry cobbler and then gone over with the what they call the colour lifter, and you can see where it sort of changes the colour, it lightens it somewhat. But if you look at the back side, you can see the areas that it's actually pushed the colour through the cardstock. So it doesn't make the colour disappear, it just kind of pushes it through. So it's worth remembering that, because sometimes if you're doing a lot of colour lifting or blending colour on colour, it can actually make the colour seep across your page. So just be careful how you use it. The reason I'm saying all this to you is so that when you colour in for yourself, you're not disappointed with the results. It's so worth understanding how these beautiful tools work so that you are happy with the results. Okay, so we're going to start colouring with the darker yellow here. Now it's worth remembering that once you lay down that colour, if you want to do some blending, try and do it straight away while the colour is still a little bit damp on the paper, because it just makes it a bit easier then to blend into the colour that you've already laid down. So as you can see here, I'm just adding more and more colour there so that I get a really nice blend of colour there. So I've got the dark there and then the light going into the light there. Alright, I don't know what other colours to do. I really do like this yellow and blue next to each other, but I've already done that, so I don't know. Let's go for what about this nice orange? So this is the dark pumpkin pie. Yep, just reading it to make sure I've got that right. And I'm just going to pop that as close to the edge as I can go, but try not to go over the black line, because I know this colour will spread if I start to put a bit of the lighter colour next to it. Oops, there we go. So if you've got the blends already, if you're a demo, please let me know and tell me how you're getting on. If you're not a demonstrator and you want to know how to get your hands on these, then carry on listening. They're going to be available from the 1st of November, and if you are interested in them and maybe buying the whole set, then it's maybe worth thinking about becoming a demonstrator yourself, because for £99 you can choose £130 of product. Well, these pens, if you were to buy the whole collection, the 12 colours, so that's 2 each of the 12 colours, plus the ivory, plus the bronze and the colour lifter, would come to, now I did do the sum earlier, £120. So they are I appreciate there are investment, but you do get the whole colour range then for that price to play with, which is fabulous. But you could choose that in your starter kit. And what a fabulous starter kit that would be. You'd have £10 left over to maybe buy some cardstock, which would be lovely. Or if you didn't want to choose all the different colours, maybe you've got some favourite colours you want to choose, then you'd have some left over for a stamp set as well. So do say hi if you're popping in now. And so I've just used the brush tip, so let me just explain about the brush tip and the fibre tip. This is the thicker end, and it's got a thicker line there to show you. And then on this side, better put my lid back on. On this side, we have a much sturdier tip. That's, you know, depending what you're colouring in, each one is more appropriate. And then the great thing about these lids is that they're actually lockable onto each other. So if you're the sort of person that tends to lose your lids, then you can just pop that onto the end, and then you won't lose it. And then you just pop it out and wait to hear the click, and you know that that's on really safely. Right, so let's have a look at this pretty design. What else can we do here? So this is the light Bermuda Bay. I'm just going in there and colouring that in. Now I will show you this colour lifter at work. I just thought of a pretty thing that I can do with this design. So here's the colour lifter. It's got a white lid. I'm just going to put little dots all the way up this scallop. Okay, and it takes a few seconds for the lightness to appear, and I would give it a few seconds just to wait and see what happens. And if you want it even lighter, then you can go over it again and just get that colour lifter down there, pushing the colour through the paper to make it lighter. So I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a slightly paler patch coming along there. Right, so a little bit darker Nita Bay here. Now this very fine tip is great for going in at these tiny small spaces. Now I am aware that people love using these colouring books, and I have got some myself, and I use these pens to colour in a colouring book that has been printed onto watercolour paper, and I have to say that the colour actually bled more on that paper than it did on the Stampin' Up! Whisper White. So although I love the design, and I will, if I can get my hands on it, I will show it to you. I'll put it down somewhere. Oh, where's it gone? Oh, oh, here it is. There we go. Right, I'll bring it over to show you. Although I love the design, and I've been really happy with the blending that I've done on it. Here we go. What I'm not happy about is the fact that it's kind of bled a bit more on this paper. It's not as fine as the Stampin' Up! Paper. So, hi guys, I'm just starting to see the messages. You're not good at fiddly colouring, handshake too much. Oh, okay, well, I'll probably come back and do some videos about if you find that your hands shake too much, because I wouldn't want you to miss out on using these. So maybe we need to find some nice big bold images that it doesn't matter if you go outside the lines. So here we go. So this is not Stampin' Up! I will just want to give that say that this is not a Stampin' Up! Design. This is just a colouring book that I purchased that's been printed onto thick card. And what I found that I wasn't so happy with was the fact that the colour comes out the lines, because it is a very fine design, for one, but secondly the paper bled a little bit, which I'm finding that although it bleeds very slightly on the Whisper White, it's not as much as that paper there. So it's just a testament to how good quality our papers are. Right, so I've coloured that one in. I'm just going to go over it a little bit just to get a little bit more darkness into the top of it, just to create a little bit of shading. Okay, you can see how it layers up beautifully. There we go. Now I don't know if you've seen, what's the drying time? I mean, it's still a little bit damp. I mean, it's completely fine to the touch. You know, it's not coming off, but you know, it's still, I don't know, it's got an air of, still got an air of dampness to it, I guess. Okay, so here, I don't know if you can see, I've gone off the line a little bit there. So this is where the colour lifter is quite useful. If you go in from the side towards where you've made the boo-boo, you can almost push that colour back in, okay? Yeah, it does take a moment just to evaporate. You're right, but the paper still feels slightly damp to the touch, but it's not like the colour comes off on you at all. Now, the other lovely thing I've discovered about these alcohol markers is they're fabulous for colouring the pearls in. Ian, even if you just buy, I don't know, the red, the blue, I don't know, the green, and just buy the one marker pen, it is worth it to colour your pearls and your crystals in with, because the effect is beautiful. Just wait there, I'm just going to grab my pearls that I coloured in the other day. So, look at this, guys. Isn't that fabulous? So no need to go buying other colours. You can colour in your own pearls. Isn't that great? So these marker pens are available in sets. You can buy the dark shade and the light shade together, or you can just buy individual pens. So if you think, well, I'm going to use the yellow, that's fine. You can just buy the yellow or the green or whatever. Or, you know, do whatever you want to do. Buy the whole set. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off doing this little design here. Let's have a think. Let's do some pink rose. Now this is a very small design, so I'm not going to worry too much about getting it too precise. And I'm actually going to use, oh no, actually, where's it? Is this the one I want? Yeah, the light pumpkin pie. And I'm going to try and blend that into the light cherry cobbler as soon as I've done it, to create a kind of rose effect there and really build that colour up. Try and pull it through. Okay. And then where's the, I got now what the light green there. Yeah, I would say for your detailed designs, if you have got slightly shaky hands, it's harder to be obviously precise. And I mean, these tiny leaves here, I mean, I'm going to try and go for it, but they are quite tricky to colour in, I have to say. And I probably need to put my glasses on just to make sure that they. There we go. Let's get some of these. Oh, remember to put my lid on. Going around the edge of this flower and then doing a little bit of the centre, and I'm going to bring some of the yellow in, just fill that up a bit. I'm just going to do little yellow flowers. Okay, now because this is going to be super tricky to colour in, I'm actually going to leave the main part of the teacup white and then just highlight the edges with the pale grey, so it's like a white china teacup, and then blend the grey in to the white with the colour lifter. So I'm just going to put some grey around the sort of the areas of the teacup that would be a little bit darker. And then immediately get my colour lifter and start working. Oh, I want the brush tip end. Immediately start working into that area there to blend that grey so it doesn't look obvious where it's started and finished the pen strokes. Right. I'm really trying to work that in. Now, as you can see, because I've put so much of that colour lifter down, it's pushed the grey outside the line. And that is what I did say earlier you have to be aware of. So I'm just going to go in there with the colour lifter and try and push it back through over that line, because it does like to stray. And sometimes it's worth just letting it dry for a second. It's all about experimenting, and if you are wanting to colour in a image that is really precious to you, I would do some practicing before you colour in your image if you've only got one of them. So really I should have perhaps not coloured so much of the grey, because that has pushed it out somewhat. But that's all about practice, isn't it? And figuring out what the pens are capable of. There we go. I'll have another go doing that. So that's my little dinky white china teacup. Right guys, I'm going to love you and leave you now, because I've been on for a little while, and If you don't follow me already on Facebook, then I do recommend that you find me, Artful Stampin, on Facebook, because I'm planning to do quite a few more videos teaching you various techniques that you can play with using these pens. And yeah, if you're seriously thinking of purchasing them, then do drop me a line, because I'm happy to talk to you about the benefits of becoming a demonstrator, or if you put in quite a big order with me, then you can earn various freebies and things. So yeah, go to Facebook, search Artful Stampin, go to artfulstampin.co.uk. I'm on there as well, and I'm happy to answer your questions. I've had these for about a week now, so all this is just sort of trial and error, playing around. And oh, I'll show you, I'll leave you with one last image that I coloured in. So this little cute little baby, you can see the various sort of tones of skin tones there, and I do love that they've supplied the two colours, because it means that hopefully it covers most different skin tones in the world, which I'm all about. So there we go. Right, thanks for joining me, guys. Do share out this video to your friends if you think they'll be interested, and please put any questions that you may have in the box below. Lovely to see you. Take care for now. Bye.